Hey there everyone, welcome back to Rocky Watches Movies. Today we're heading down into the sewers to celebrate one of the most beloved franchises of the 1980s and beyond, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. From their comic book origins to the smash hit cartoon, live action films, and endless wave of pizza-fueled pop culture madness, Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello and Raphael became heroes in a half shell for an entire generation. So grab a slice of pizza and join us for 20 things you never knew about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The origin of the Turtles dates back to the early 1980s in Northampton, Massachusetts, where friends Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird regularly met to draw comics together. One evening, while Peter was watching television, Kevin sketched a turtle wearing a mask, wielding nunchucks to make his friend laugh, labelling it Ninja Turtle. Laird responded by drawing another turtle, and Eastman then created 4 turtles, each with a different weapon. The words Teenage Mutant were then added to the title, creating the now iconic name. The following day, the pair decided to create a story explaining the origin of their strange new heroes. Using money from a tax refund along with $1,000 borrowed from a relative, they printed 3,000 copies of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 in 1984. These comics are now extremely valuable. A near-mint copy sold for $245,000 in 2021, with high-grade copies regularly fetching between $18,000 and $30,000. Eastman and Laird jokingly named their company Mirage Studios because they did not actually have a proper studio. Instead, they worked out of their living room, with the comic quickly becoming a surprise hit. Many elements in the story of the very first issue of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are direct nods to Frank Miller's Daredevil run, as well as the New Mutants, the X-Men spin-off series. It has even been confirmed that the same toxic waste which blinded Matt Murdock was also responsible for mutating the Turtles. Throughout the franchise's history, many Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stories have been aimed at children, featuring fun and light-hearted adventures across comics, television, films and video games. The original comic series, however, was far darker, portraying the Turtles as assassins, trained by Splinter for one purpose: to kill Shredder. The very first issue is especially brutal, opening with the Turtles violently taking down more than 15 members of the Purple Dragons gang. And by the end of the issue, Leonardo kills Shredder in battle. It was actually the 1987 cartoon that established Shredder as the central villain of the franchise. Talking of Shredder, his creation came from a rather amusing idea. Co-creator Kevin Eastman placed his hand inside a rectangular cheese grater and imagined a villain covered from head to toe in metal blades and sharp edges. In the early stages, he even considered naming the character the Grater. It was co-creator Peter Laird who ultimately came up with the name Shredder. After the Turtles comic became a surprise hit, the creators were approached by several people interested in licensing the franchise. In 1986, Mark Friedman of Surge Licensing met the pair in Northampton. Friedman promised to make them millions, though the creators remained skeptical and hastily drafted a non-exclusive 30-day contract on a napkin. Within a month, he had secured a deal with Playmates Toys. Soon after, the franchise exploded with toys, merchandise and a hugely successful animated series. By 1991, Eastman estimated he was earning around $50 million annually from the Turtles. When the creators began naming the Turtles, they first considered Asian names to match the characters' ninja origins. Ultimately, though, they decided that was not unusual enough. As passionate fans of art history, the pair instead chose names inspired by famous Renaissance artists. Donatello was nearly named after Gian Lorenzo Bernini, but Laird preferred a name ending in O, leading to Donatello becoming the final choice. Chuck Lorre has been behind some of the most successful sitcoms of all time, such as 2.5 Men and The Big Bang Theory. Long before becoming a writer and producer, however, he worked as a musician, and one of his earliest projects was creating the theme song for the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon. He explained that he drew inspiration from the original comic book series' strange and independent spirit. He said the comics reminded him of garage rock music, which inspired the theme song's loud, energetic and in-your-face style. In the 1980s, the very first film pitch presented came from New World Pictures, the company associated with cult filmmaker Roger Corman. The bizarre concept would have featured the Turtles, played by 4 popular comedians of the era: Gallagher, Sam Kinison, Bobcat Goldthwait and Billy Crystal. Rather than elaborate costumes or animatronics, the actors would simply have worn turtle shells while their arms and legs were painted green. Another proposed idea pushed Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles into far more adult territory, including a scene featuring partially nude nuns on roller skates battling the heroes. That first live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film faced a difficult journey to the big screen. The production was plagued by disputes over the script, challenges involving Jim Henson's animatronic turtle suits, and the fact that nearly every major studio passed on the chance to distribute the movie. Partway through filming, New Line Cinema eventually stepped in to back the project. The film was produced on a modest budget of just $13.5 million, yet it went on to earn nearly $200 million worldwide at the box office. This made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the highest-grossing independent film of all time for many years. In fact, its record remained unbeaten until the release of the Blair Witch Project. It took a large team of performers to bring Jim Henson's animatronic turtle suits to life for the 1990 film. Puppeteers controlled the facial expressions, voice actors provided the dialogue, and stunt performers worked inside the heavy costumes. Whenever the Turtles exploded in popularity, imitators quickly followed. What made Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles unusual, however, was the sheer number of copycats that appeared after the black and white comic debuted in 1984, including adolescent radioactive black belt hamsters, cold-blooded chameleon commandos, and preteen dirty jean kung fu kangaroos. The trend continued after the 1987 cartoon launched, inspiring shows like Street Sharks, Biker Mice from Mars, Samurai Pizza Cats, and my favourite, Wild West Cowboys of Moo Mesa. Kevin Eastman once claimed he counted 21 knockoff titles using the same formula: adjective, 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 noun. Despite their efforts, none managed to capture the same magic that made Turtles a global phenomenon. Shredder is one of the great comic book, television and film villains. For most fans, the 1987 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon served as their first introduction to both the Turtles and their enemy. The character was voiced by James Avery, best known to audiences as Uncle Phil from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Avery voiced Shredder from the very first episode of the cartoon through to the middle of the 7th season. The cartoon was, of course, a massive success, and the franchise quickly spread overseas, though not without a few complications. In the UK, media watchdogs considered the word ninja to be too violent for children's entertainment. As a result, the series was renamed Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles. There were also strict rules surrounding the depiction of nunchucks. At the time, any media featuring the weapon was often given a far harsher age rating. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has been involved in countless crossovers over the years since its creation. Some have been especially high profile, such as the recent Batman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles miniseries. The recent comics published by IDW Publishing frequently feature crossovers between the company's various properties, In 2012, there was even a crossover event titled Infestation, which brought together the Turtles, G.I. Joe, and Transformers. Their crossover adventures have not been limited to comic books either. They even appeared in a live-action episode of Power Rangers in Space. There have also been action figure lines that combine the Turtles with franchises such as Star Trek, WWE, and Dracula from the classic Universal Monster series. In 1997, there was a live-action series, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. It introduced a female turtle named Venus de Milo, who wore a light blue bandana and fought using a fan and mystical orbs. The show revealed Venus as a fifth turtle exposed to the same mutagen as the others, with Splinter supposedly just failing to notice her while rescuing the original four. Raised by a man named Chung and trained in the art of shinobi, Venus was largely ignored in later adaptations. The franchise has conquered in one way or another movies, television, comics, video games and toys. Surprisingly, there was also a live concert tour featuring the 4 Green Ninjas. The Coming Out of Their Shells tour featured the 4 Turtles singing and playing instruments for legions of fans. One show at Radio City Music Hall in New York City was taped and sold on VHS. The show featured Michelangelo as lead vocals and guitar, Leonardo on bass, Donatello on keyboard, and Raphael on drums. There was a light plot throughout the show involving the Turtles travelling to different cities to spread their love of music, with Shredder and Baxter teaming up to steal all the music in the world. The 1988 Archie Comics launched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Adventures that was originally intended to serve as an adaptation of the 1987 animated show. However, the comic quickly branched into its own bizarre continuity, completely separate from the cartoon. The series later introduced the Mighty Mutanimals, featuring characters like Wingnut, Leatherhead and Man Ray. While many stories focused on environmental issues, others became increasingly strange, with the Turtles meeting future versions of themselves and even Donatello encountering Christopher Columbus. The 1996 Image Comics series pushed things even further. Donatello was rebuilt with bionic parts after severe injuries, while Leonardo lost a hand to King Komodo. Splinter was transformed into a bat and driven insane before eventually returning to normal. Perhaps the wildest storyline involved Raphael, who was badly scarred in battle before taking up Shredder's armour and becoming leader of the Foot Clan. Buffalo Bob Smith from Howdy Doody filed a multi-million-dollar lawsuit against Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, claiming that the Turtles had copied the famous catchphrase Cowabunga. Multiple sources over the years have claimed that the dispute was settled out of court for around $50,000, though exact details were never fully made public. Another man launched a lawsuit insisting that God had revealed the idea for the Turtles to him personally. Obviously, that one didn't get very far. Meanwhile, the animation studio responsible for the 1980s cartoon attempted to claim half of the franchise's royalties, arguing that they had created everything that made the characters truly popular. There is no widely documented evidence that the studio ever won half of the royalties or achieved a major legal victory, though. And we'll finish off with a nice little weird one. One particularly unusual fan from France reportedly developed an obsession with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles characters. She would regularly send Mirage Studios explicit drawings and letters describing her fantasies involving the shell-covered heroes. Whatever floats your boat. And there you have it, folks. You now know a little bit more about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If you enjoyed the video, which I presume you did as you got this far, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos coming to Rocky Watches Movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.